Y'all, we back with another video, okay? Now we just did these two right here. We just did these two. We just did these two, and we gonna go ahead and do this one. Evil nurse is caught murdering her patients. What do you mean?
Back in 2008, two patients claimed that they saw 35-year-old nurse Kimberly Sayans draw bleach into a syringe and then inject the solution into the IV lines of two patients receiving dialysis. The patients
Oh
immediately told
no.
the supervisor what they saw. Kimberly was sent home, and the supervisor called the police and told them what had happened.
So I went, and the first person I approached was Lurleen Hamilton. And I grabbed a chair, sat down, got on her level, sat up close to her so I could have a private conversation and just reassure what's going on, what can I do to help, and what do you need to tell me? I understand you're upset. Miss Hamilton said, I cannot believe what I just saw. And I said, well, tell me what you saw earlier, what's going on. And she's like, I saw that nurse over there, the one with the ponytail, the one with Kim. I said, yes, sir, Miss Kim Delvian. She says, yes. She goes, I saw her draw up some of that Clorox. She kept insisting that it was Clorox. I saw her drop that Clorox, and she went and injected it in that patient over there. And Miss Roan, I said, which one? And she said, Miss Roan's chair, she got sick a while ago too. And it wasn't long after she injected that. And I said, okay. And she said, and then she went and she put it in that sharps container over there about the patient on the end. She didn't bring it, and she walked over there, and then she came back over here, and she kept really looking around, acting like she was real nervous. And she didn't bring it over here, but she walked way back over there and put the needle in that container. I said, okay, we're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. She will not come take you off. I'll get someone else over here to take over this road. I said, are you okay? Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what kind of person you dead ass gotta be to put bleach inside of a patient's body? When you're the nurse, you are a nurse. What are you a nurse for? To to harm other people? You're supposed to be protecting these people, making these people helping these people get better. But instead you're making them get worse, killing them. Like, what kind of heart do she really got? Why is she still working as a nurse if she hated that much? If she don't like patients that much? Like, come on, yo.
Okay, it's all right. So then I wheeled over and I talked to Linda Hall. Miss Hall, what's going on? What can I do? I understand you're upset. And she basically gave me the same story about Kim having a bleach container on the floor, and that Kim drew up bleach from that container and stood up with a syringe right by her side and just kept looking around, watching. And I said, well, what was she watching for? And she's like, because just curious. And she's like, well, she was waiting for Dale, who was my med nurse that day, to walk back from where he was at with Arlene, who was monitoring him. When he had left that area, that's when she had walked over to Miss Roan's area and actually had infused what she thought was bleach into the lines of the patient.
That's crazy.
And she gave the exact same story about how she came back over and was still hiding the syringe by her side, and then how she later had gone and disposed of the syringe in the sharps container.
Crazy.
I reassured her as well, Kim will not be over here to take care of you. I will take care of this. You're going to be okay. Oh, and you're just not going to believe me. That's not the case. I do believe you, and I will investigate this. It's going to be okay. So
not one person seen it, but
quietly
two.
walked off. At the time, Kim was not on the floor. She was on break. And I went and spoke with Kim outside. And I just asked her, Kim, have you given any meds today? Left it open-ended. She told me she hadn't. And I said, well, did you mix the containers for your clamps and bleach rags? And she said, well, I went and drew up some syringes of bleach and I was mixing my containers. And I said, you drew up bleach and syringes to measure out your bleach? And she said, yes, I did. I said, don't we use the cup? She's like, well, this is my first time. She goes, I had the container on the floor and I was just making sure I had it all done correct. I was like, you had the container on the floor? we never put our containers on the floor. And she's like, well, yeah,
Trying to
yeah, I
lie.
did. I said, okay, you know, we don't do it that way, and that's not the way we're supposed to. And I said, but you've not given any meds. Nope, haven't given any meds. I said, okay, all right. So I come back in and trying to decide, you know, where to go, what to do, you know, could I justify what's going on? Because this is totally inappropriate, totally awkward, not dialysis practices. So in the meantime, because I knew she was still outside, I went and grabbed the sharps container that was at the end, and I took it to the lab, just to get it off the floor so I would have it. I spoke to Giselle Fournette and just told her to watch that sharps container, not to let anybody buy it. She said okay. I knew that Kim was having a bad day from that morning, so I used that as my opportunity to go back and talk to her and just let her know that since you're having a bad day, to go home. When I was walking off the floor, I found Kim at the nurse's station around Yasmin's area. So I asked her to come where I was, and I just explained to her, you know, you're having a bad day. Things just haven't gone from you from the get-go. And so, you know, and she's like, well, now they're telling me that the patients are saying that I put medicine or I drew up something and put in one of the patients' thing, and I didn't do it. And I said, well, you know, that just means you're having even a worse day. So you know what, why don't you go into the house? Because I just, you know, you're having a bad day. We'll start again fresh in the morning and we'll do that. And she's like, that sounds great. And so she left my building. From there, I proceeded on to where Giselle was guarding my sharps container. And I laid out blue pads, which are truck pads. They're plastic on the bottom.
She took the
and
right
cotton on top,
precautions,
so
the
they're
right
absorbent.
measures.
And then I opened up the sharps container. Giselle had another sharps container with her that, from my knowledge, Yasmin had brought to her. So we opened up both the sharps containers in two different piles and poured them out. And there were several syringes in there. There were EPO syringes, there were fistula needles in there, and then there was a couple of 10 cc syringes. There's a couple that actually had blood in them where they actually pulled out when they were putting on a catheter patient. You have to pull back 3 cc's of blood before you hook them up to pull the heparin out. So anyway, so there's a couple of syringes. I went and got bleach residual strips, and it has a little pad on it that you actually put a solution on, and it'll change colors if there's bleach present. I tested a couple of the EPO syringes, and there was no bleach present. Then I found a syringe, one of the syringes that had the blood in it, and tested it, and there was no bleach present. There was another syringe that actually had a needle attached to it, which was very odd and different, and had the cap on it. I removed the cap, and I squeezed out some of the solution that was inside that syringe on the tip of that pad, and it immediately changed to a dark purple, which is a very high positive measure of bleach. So being the person that I am, I'm like, well, I've been bleaching the container and it could have seeped through here. So the only other way to do it is to pull out the plunger, because nothing could have gotten inside the syringe. So I pulled the plunger out, and I took this test strip, another one, and placed it inside and put it some of the solution that was there. And again, it turned positive immediately for bleach as well. There was one other syringe the same way. I tested it, and it was both syringe and inside positive for bleach. At this time, Linda Stevens is here with me. I had her as a witness, plus Giselle. Giselle tested several of her syringes in there. She also reported to me that she had 2 that were positive for bleach as well.
Oh my God.
Since the day Kimberly began working at the dialysis center, 19 patients had passed away, according to the health inspector. This number was abnormally high, and an investigation had already begun long before Kimberly had been caught injecting bleach into her patients. What was interesting is that all the patients that died had all been under the direct care of Kimberly. The detectives asked Kimberly to come in for an interview.
No fucking way. No way she actually killing these patients. 19 people. 19 people. What is wrong with this lady?
They don't tell her what the interview is about, but Kimberly is already prepared because she knew this day was coming. Without being asked, she brings up the mortality among the patients, how she gets confused easily, and how the bleach is used to clean the dialysis machines.
I don't know, these last months, I'm just scared to go to work, to be honest with you.
Why?
Because they can't tell us
Why?
what's going on, and
You know why?
I'm doing everything by the book, and I'm scared because I have a license, and I'm scared if I do something, then I've lost my license. You know, the anxiety in that clinic was just, and I don't know what it is. It's just, and I know we're all new, except for a couple of people. And I have noticed lately that there's been a lot of sloppiness. You get machine ready up, and that takes a good 15 minutes, and you know who your patient is, and you know where your graft is, and you get it all ready. And the dialyzer, it has renal in it, and it's got to be circulated, you know, because if they get a renal infusion, well, then they're off to the hospital. You know, it's like bleach. So we had that, and then we just had so many chest pains that I just don't understand. And they said that we've had so many deaths in the past 7 months. April. And it's just scary, and I'm scared to leave my patients. You know, I'm just constantly, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And so I'm really not sure what to do about it. I enjoy my job, and I only know I've been here 9 months, but you know, you either hate it or you like it. So, and if I can get, I have good patients that they come on, they're cheerful, they know they're here for, you know, we're just trying to help them feel better.
Have
And
you
it makes you
got
feel
asked
better
a
at the end of the
question?
day.
You
But
go
when you have
straight into
codes after
detail.
codes, it's just frustrating. And you're like, you lose your mindset of like, okay, where am I? Where do I group at? So, and I really thought that dialysis was what I wanted to do. But I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's in the water
It
system.
ain't never
I
been
don't
something
know
you
if
wanted
it's
to
in-
do.
Have they been checking
You
on
just
that?
want to kill these
Yeah.
patients,
That's
man.
what they said. But I know that every day they have to do a police loop through the whole thing. And I'm just curious, what if our machines are hooked up and they have some bleach in them? I haven't researched into that, but I just have to wonder what kind of reactions would happen if there was some bleach machines, you know, not clear.
Girl, you giving yourself up.
I know you bleach them every week.
What do you mean you bleach them every week?
But on Thursdays, all the machines have to be hooked up to this big bleach bottle, and they have to go through, and they have to go for like 25 minutes. And when it's done, you take your bleach bottle out of it. And to me, when I get there in the morning, if I know it's Thursdays or bleach days, so
You
when
know what? All in all, it is a bad thing that these machines are being cleaned with straight bleach. I hope they do like a couple rinsing cycles in order to get the residue of bleach out. Because all in all, the bleach will still be left behind. And that's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking.
I get there in the morning, I just check, there's a little, spout thing. And you can spout it and check for chlorine. Because I just don't.
You just don't think they'd have got it out?
Well, I don't know. I just don't. I know they bleached the route of they bleached the loop. And maybe that comes all out. I don't know. I just have a habit of pushing the bleach because I don't know when it was last done, and I don't want to kill my patients.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Bleach.
The bleach?
Yeah.
They put it in After the patients are gone, they're in these little Tyler cylinders. And you go back to your main screen and you go chemical, bleach. And it'll go through about 35 minutes. And then you're supposed to, there's a little drain thing on the side. You're supposed to squirt it for like a couple minutes, get your little bleach thing and make sure there's no bleach in there. You're supposed to have 2 people do it, just so that you know there's no bleach in there.
Right.
And it seems like, you know, and then it might not be my place to say, but we had 32 chairs, I believe, and
That's a lot of
it
patience.
doesn't seem like there's a lot of people watching. I sit by my patients because
Oh, she
I
would
just
know
don't,
that. She would know
I'm
that.
scared. I don't want my patients to go out.
Yes, you do.
And it's my license on the line. You know, it's not just a PCT. You know, I have.
It appears that Kimberly knows they are onto her, so she does her best to prove she is innocent before she can even be accused. She explains the entire process of cleaning out the dialysis machines, while maintaining she does everything by the book because she fears losing her license.
I hope there's video.
But what hurts me the most is for 2 patients to accuse me of giving another patient's medication that was not ordered. And that just,
Bleach is not
that's been
medication.
something that's really irritated all day. I was just crying earlier, and I was like,
Hold on. How was she crying earlier about the situation when she didn't even know nothing? Because when she first came here, she said that her job wasn't telling them nothing. Didn't want to tell them about give them news about the interview. Didn't want to tell them what's going on, what it's for, none of that. But now she's sitting here saying she was crying all day because she didn't want to lose her license because 2 patients snitched on her. What?
I mean, it's my license. If I do something like that, I can't do something like that.
What did you give her any medicine?
I did give her some saline, only because she said she was cramping. Opened her saline line, Angie wasn't there. So I charted that I gave her some saline line. Her pressure didn't really go down that much. And then she just said she felt kind of nauseated.
Because you gave her bleach.
Did you work the whole day yesterday?
No, because what happened, and I'm really been upset about this, Miss Hall, she claims that I gave Miss Rome some medication. And she didn't want me to do anything to me today. And the only thing that I did was go over there and give her saline. And I know you're supposed to stay with your own 4 patients. And Angie was gone. And she was just moaning and groaning. Her blood pressure was down. So I gave her a little bit of saline and I traded it. I charted it. And she just said, Miss Call said, "What did you give to her?" And I said, "I didn't give anything to her. I gave her saline. Her blood pressure's dropping."
And you gave her something.
And then it wasn't long. She had Miss Hamilton sitting right beside her. And she was like, "Did you see her give her something?" And it was very frustrating because I wanted to go back to them too and say, "What did you give? What did you see me give?" Because all I did yesterday was get my patients set up, deal with the meds. I didn't do any meds. And I guess my patients, they come here and they want to be dialyzed and they want to get out. And I don't know what's going on here. And it's just scary. And if I'm doing
All I can do
something
is
wrong,
shake my head
I want to know that I'm doing something wrong because I don't want to kill somebody. I mean, I know it's dialysis. It happens all over the country. And I just don't understand what's going on.
What do you mean it's dialysis? It happens all over the country.
Well, I guess maybe not all over the country, but there's, Amy told me the other day, she goes, "Girls, this is dialysis. There's so many places around here and it goes smooth." So so I wonder, what are we doing wrong?
Kimberly explains that she wants to know why so many patients are dying. The detectives decide it's time to bring up the bleach, so they ask Kimberly how the bleach is used to clean the machines.
Can you tell us anything about the bleaching procedures?
Bleaching
Y'all have a-
procedures. We are supposed to, after we get our, well, some people do it before. You get your, there's two things in bleach back there, and it's either before or after. But you have to get your bleach bowl, and you have to get like a little medicine cup. And you gotta go all the way back there, and you gotta get that. And you pour it in your bowl.
Let's see what she said about the
Would there be a
syringe.
cause or a reason or necessity or anything like that for anyone to use a syringe to draw bleach up into?
No,
Do you use a syringe to pull your 10 cc's of bleach up?
sometimes I do when I can't find
No.
the little
Notice how once they brought up the bleach syringe, she started popping her gum. She is caught up in her lies right now, and she is uncomfortable. She is caught up. She's uncomfortable. She started popping that gum like, damn. I thought I screwed them the other way. No, girl, they own you.
medicine
They own your
cups.
body.
They used to be in that top drawer. There weren't any in there. So I knew 10 C's would make that. But I did it at the back. I did it at the back where there
Seems like
was
she's trying to make up a lie right now.
blood. Because we weren't supposed to do it up here. And you just get a little 2 ml cup. You fill it with bleach, and then you put 1/1000 bleach in there, and then you put your clean lamps in there.
When you use a syringe to draw up the bleach
What are you doing?
before you make your mixture up, what happens to that syringe?
If you use a syringe, they actually have little cups to monitor them. There wasn't any cups up there that day, but if you use a syringe,
So all of a
10
sudden y'all
cc's.
don't have cups.
then you're gonna have to, put it in the receptacle.
Okay, did you do that yesterday at all? Did you draw any bleach up in a syringe?
I drew, I had 2 that I went back there for.
You used a syringe to put the bleach in there?
With your water?
With my water.
Tell the
You mean on the
truth.
clean bleach?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I didn't have those 2 mLs. So I went to the back and I got a 10 cc syringe because I couldn't find any more of those little yellow things. And I pulled up my 10 cc syringe and I dumped it out. And that discarded the 10 cc syringe because we were out of those little cuppy things.
How many different syringes did you use? Did you use one for both solutions, or, you know what I'm saying? Did you draw your bleach up, put it in the solution, draw more bleach up in the same syringe, and put it in your clean cup?
No, I had 2.
Were you near any patients when all this happened?
They were on the machines.
Did you ever go over to any patients with any syringes in your hands?
No.
While you were adjusting the
She's
saline
lying.
over there, just checking on them or anything like that, did you ever have any syringes in your hand or?
No, because I wasn't doing meds that day.
We're all trying to figure out, why there's been this sudden spike in events, over the past month or so. Do you have any theories or any ideas what's causing all this?
Yes,
Well,
she do.
I know I'm new. I've only been here 8 months. But I just wonder about the blood pressures, when they come in and they're really high. I get so scared they're going to stroke out. It's just scary. I didn't know dialysis was going to be like this. You know, the first few weeks, it seemed to go okay. You might have a bleeder or two, but having triage every day, it's just, and I keep going over and over in my head, my books, and trying to figure out what have I done wrong.
Of the 5 patients who had died over the previous month, prosecution was able to prove that Kimberly had direct contact with all of them.
Oh my God.
They also showed the jury that Kimberly had Googled bleach poisoning and whether or not bleach could be detected in dialysis lines.
my God.
This evidence, along with the co-worker's testimony stating that Kimberly hated her job and was very aggressive towards her patients, was enough for the jury to convict her of 5 counts of murder.
Yo.
Kimberly was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
You've never given an
Time out, because imagine if she would have got convicted of all the 19 other patients that died previously. That lady will be on death row. Cause what? And the fact that she did some research about bleach poisoning is crazy. And then sit there in those officers' faces talking about, I don't want to kill anybody. I don't want to kill anybody. Yes, you fucking do. Yes, you do. Look what you doing. Look at your actions, man. Like, come on.
interview, you didn't testify in your trial. People who know about your case will have ever heard you speak, really. Why are you doing this?
There's just a lot of things that was never said, and I believe it's time to speak out. I found myself working at a dialysis clinic that was more about money than they were about the lives of their patients. I was falsely accused of something, and that's why I'm here today. I know that I didn't do anything that would have done anything to harm another patient.
This wasn't going on before you got there, and it hasn't gone on since you left. I mean, the chances of one patient dying.
It's so funny that she just sat there and claimed that she's innocent, but she literally sat there in those investigators' faces and gave her testimony saying exactly what she did, step by step. She just didn't include the part of her walking over to the patients and inserted into their lines. But that was caught. Why did she search up bleach poisoning? Why was these 5 patients that she was taking care of have bleach in their systems? Like, come on. She's not making no sense. She just did this interview to get some attention.
Dying of cardiac arrest, about 7 in 100,000. But the odds of 2 patients dying that close to each other was described as astronomical.
Well, and I would probably agree if I knew the statistics.
But why do you think it was all happening once you joined?
Well, no, I never put 2 and 2 together like that.
But it came up in court that you told staff you didn't like the patients which you had been charged with helping.
That's silly. I would never say something like that.
But why would these 2 patients invent the fact they'd seen you?
Well, first of all, neither one of them could see. Did draw it up, but I was making it for a cleaning solution.
Right.
I wasn't making it to go kill
But
somebody.
they're all lying, all these people.
Yes.
But why would you be asking, can bleach be detected in dialysis lines?
I've always thought it was the water system. I do know that the water treatment system, how it wasn't cleaning all the chlorine out of the lines.
It's either the water, which nobody believes apart from you and a few people, or it's you, only person that could possibly have been, because you were the only one around these machines in every single case, was you.
That's not true.
And the common theme of all of it, in the end, is you. Why did you do it?
I didn't. And why would I? I had nothing against any of those people.
Sometimes
You hated your job.
the easier thing is just to admit it. That's the path to atonement. And maybe you're in denial to yourself. You and I know you did this.
No, I did not. That don't even make sense.
It does make sense.
I really thought you were going to help me.
Help you what?
Help me to get the truth out. Thanks a lot.
I think we did get the truth out.
I guess he got in your pockets too.
I just think you're guilty. I'm sorry.
Okay. Guilty for killing people for no reason. That makes a lot of sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Some investigators believe that Kimberly killed over 15 patients during her time at the dialysis center. However, this isn't the first medical facility she has worked for. Kimberly had been fired by previous employers, who stated in her termination letters that she was not to be rehired under any circumstances.
Oh, wow. What the hell did she
What are
do?
your thoughts on this case? Why do you think Kimberly went on a killing spree? Please share your thoughts in the comments below.
Now that right there, that lady had to go through some trauma. She had to go through some trauma for real, because the fact that she got fired from other facilities and then they said don't hire this woman again is crazy. I wonder if she killed any patients in those facilities, because what? And she sat there in that interview thinking that the truth, excuse me, the truth was going to be told. The truth is already out. You just want to stir it up with some lies, manipulate the situation. No, it's not going to happen, girl. I believe that she definitely is guilty of killing those patients. Based on what I heard, what they didn't live in the situation. I wasn't there in the situation, but based on what I heard, I think she is guilty for sure, and she is in the right place. She is definitely in the right place. But y'all, that's gonna be the end of this reaction video for real, because, oh boy, that lady said subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, all right? Hit the like button. Make sure that y'all just come back for the rest of these reaction videos, all right? We got plenty more to go, okay? Make sure you stay. Make sure you come back. Make sure you watch it all the way through, all right? We gonna catch y'all in the next reaction video, all right? Peace out.